comment. You know, Columbus is a wonderful community with a very bright future. We've been able to accomplish much since taking office the first of this year. We're bringing the State Street project forward. We're rebuilding a section of Rocky Ford Road. We're addressing the impending railroad changes, our riverfront, and our economic development challenges. We're pursuing more effective responses to mental health and substance abuse issues that have developed our community. Most importantly, in my view, we have reestablished trust among city employees, and we have reestablished relationships with nearby communities, and we've reached out to partners in the state and federal governments, all with some success. We've also placed a heavy emphasis on how we govern. We show up for meetings, we participate in community events, we are approachable, and we are welcoming to those who wish to question their city government. We do this because it's the right thing to do. Indiana has a history of citizen participation in government, and this is enshrined in statutes relating to public access for documents and meetings. The public's right to know is inviolate, and we have demonstrated our belief that this is so by providing unparalleled access by the media to elected officials, department heads, and other city professionals. However, for the past 10 months or so, we've been witness to a number of actions by our former mayor and her supporters that abuse these public access processes. Tonight's objection petition is simply the latest. She and her supporters have filed at least 24 public information requests. They have filed 7 complaints with the Indiana Public Access Council. They have made numerous phone calls and submitted even more email requests to city employees, outside professionals, and former employees. Former Mayor Brown has even tried to get the federal government to investigate our Rocky Ford Road project, an effort which began during her administration. We have fully responded to each document request and complaint and will continue to do so. And to date, we've been sustained every step of the way. My purpose in mentioning all this tonight is simply to provide our citizens with some insight into their cost. Some of their requests are downright silly and easily handled. Earlier this year, one of the Board of Works members passed me a note during a public meeting informing me that she was leaving to attend another meeting but would not return. The next day, we received a public information request asking for a copy of the note. But most of these requests and complaints are not so easily responded to. Most require search of paper and/or electronic files, followed by reviews to determine whether the search was thorough enough and whether information that is not allowed to be released was excluded. You should think employee records or HIPAA records. The cost of those who complain and object is next to zero. The cumulative cost of our city to respond to these is in the thousands of dollars. And for what purpose? To find a fault. Transparency, openness, the public's right to know, or even good government is not the issue here. These come from a small group led by a former mayor who can't seem to get beyond having lost an election. As much as anything, that election was about moving on. The voters expressed a desire, clearly and convincingly, that they wished our city to move beyond the acrimony and contention that had existed during her time in office. That we have endeavored to do. It's now time for her and her group to move along also.
You have to register an objection to that as well. This position here in order, this petition tonight was not the former mayor, it was my idea. So to pin that on someone else is wrong and abject false.
Mr. Jones, you're not in order.
May I speak, please? Let me tell you, I got involved in city government in 2009 because I didn't appreciate what was going on. I had no political ambitions, okay? But I've always been involved. I love the community, but I really don't like the way we're governed with fear and intimidation. And, I had no desire to get into politics, okay? I got out in here, and Jim, for 4 years, well, it even started before. You guys called me names. I've been under 2 completely bogus criminal investigations from you and your small group of supporters. You put my dad, my 77-year-old man, under a criminal investigation.
That's not true.
Your supporters falsely, for 4 years you sat up there. You have read written statements, you condemned me. I've been harassed with public information information requests. Not one time did I ever come back and say, you're just sour grapes because your guy didn't win and you're not the mayor. Never, or anyone else. I sat here and respectfully answered everyone who came before me. That was out of line, absolutely shameful.
Yes.
And to do that to some people who question their government, ask for public information, and then to publicly censure them. You will comment on the bad behavior of the other elected officials, but you will absolutely attack, personally attack, people who are interested in getting involved in their local government. You should be commending them and applauding them. You were given a respectful petition that was based in fact. How dare you?
Yeah.
Make a motion to adjourn.